Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. The YouTube channel content creator, actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world.
Holy
Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. I haven't used this item in an extraordinarily long time. It's been at least over a year. Since whenever I played Tainted Cain. At one point I used it to make a bunch of Genesises over and over in Infinite Basement. I think I managed to get to Scarred Womb 437. But I couldn't make it any further because I ran out. Because every time you use this to make items, by destroying items you get less return. There might be items you could use with a cheat engine to give you a better return, but yeah. This is definitely not something I expected to get. Who out there has ever read a creepypasta? I can certainly mention... Well, I've done some unrehearsed creep. How do I use this thing again? Like, it could have been a good pill, but let's be honest. How many pill effects are good with this character? Pretty Fly? Well, this is something that's really good with this item, but completely worthless to this person. Basically, just keys and bombs are the only thing that I really need with this guy. Money, too, but I really don't need a lot, unless I get, like, money equals power. But, yeah, like, Mr. Creeppasta, Creeps McPasty, Creeppasta Jr., Lighthouse Horror, a bunch of people. I do require at least some keys. You're saying, why did you come here? Because I didn't need a key to get in. Now, it's too bad, unlike Tainted Cain, I can't shuffle my items. That way, if I didn't want to get rid of the Eternal Heart inside the mix, I can, you know... Because that would be the thing giving me the highest rarity. So right now, we're at net negative because we are down a potential item that could have been really good. What? That's the last thing I would have ever expected it to give me. Anyway. Yeah. Any particular... Like, I've done some unrehearsed creepypasta narrations where I just read a creepypasta without, you know, rehearsing or anything. So it's completely unprofessional, like everything on my channel. Why am I moving so slowly? Yeah, I would not have expected duality. It's like the last thing I would have expected them to give me. I mean, it doesn't really help me right now. Honestly, I feel duality should also make... Duality should also make... One, Devil Deal and Angel Rooms more likely to appear. Like, I know it makes where, you know, no matter what, you know, you have the chance of both. Tears, I do require. I think Duality should get buffed. I think Duality should have the buff to where, one, it increases your likelihood, not as much as Goathead, but at least, and if you add Goathead to it, then Like, you should be able to have a over 100% chance. You want to say, what happens if you have over 100% chance? Then it means that when you go into your angel room, there's another angel room on the other side. And if you have duality, well, guess what? Now, you have an angel room and devil room. And there's another angel room behind your angel room. And there's another devil room behind your devil room. And if you go beyond 200%, then now there's 3 of them stacked. But yeah, 1. Have any of you read any creepypastas just yourself? I do require a key for an item room. And potentially a bomb. This is a pain in the ass opponent! What we got? Tears up, okay. Let's take... Oh my god. This is concerning. Ah! Okay, of all the fucking bullshit that I don't... You knew the risk coming in. Fuck! Bag of crafting seed. That's neat. So if you want a seed where you... Well, granted, I don't know if it'd be for everyone. Because, you know, Tainted Loss does affect the item pool. But yeah, what I was saying about creepypastas is this. 1, are there any creepypastas you read yourself? Are there any creepypastas you've read, listened to by other people? Like Mr. Creepypasta or anything? Beyond that, what's the oldest creepypasta? Like, obviously in the internet, certain things like Jeff the Killer or Ben Drowned or the Ditto Theory are pretty old ones. But what about creepypastas that existed before creepypastas? Like, here, memes before memes. Like, take the thing in the Bullet Train movie with Brad Pitt. There's a scene at the start where he's walking down the road and he is singing and walking down the road buying stuff to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Albeit a bit of a Japanese take on it, which sounds pretty kick-ass. Beyond that, the movie Bushwhacked with Daniel Stern. He does the same thing at the start of that movie. Also, in the movie Virtuosity, Russell Crowe also does the exact same thing. Where all 3 of these guys are walking down the road. It's kind of like Jim Carrey with Talladega Nights, I think. It's just like... Back then, certain things would get repeated in movies, so just memes, just funny things. And of course, sometimes memes were used as propaganda by certain countries. You know, little pictures to inspire things to just... But usually lately it's just people are just having a laugh. But yeah, are there any creepypasta stories that you yourself find interesting? Or any subjects? Or any narrators? Like I said, Mr. Creepypasta is pretty cool. Beyond that, then there's the idea of creepypastas back in the past. Like, what's the oldest creepypasta? Not just internet-wise, but period. I'd say in the Bible, it mentions several times, as do other religious books and other cultures that even in stories that are not considered religious, where it mentions not to boil a baby goat in its own mother's milk. And many times it's actually considered worse than committing murder. So, there's that. Especially given what goats are sometimes used to symbolize in certain cultures. Not saying there's anything wrong with goats, they're adorable. I'm just saying odd symbolic choices given how they... Basically, I'm making like a TV tropes reference here. If you ever get the chance, TV Tropes is an interesting website. You have all these tropes about all this media and stuff where there's recurring themes that are used in different stories. And of course there's links, and there's just... It is a site that you can get buried in because there's endless links that go to everything. It includes anime, manga, comics, movies, books. I think I've said before that saying you like anime is a lot like saying you like movies. There's lots of different genres of movies. Same way, there's lots of different genres of anime. Some animes even jump genres from time to time, or a mix of them. So, yeah, it's kind of like saying, like, take Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing's a great anime, but probably not suitable for anyone who is not at least a teenager. Because, I mean, it does have some violence and some certain themes in it that, while it's not... I wouldn't consider it even ecchi or fan servicey at all. Like, I don't remember there being anything sexual at all in Gundam Wing. But it is a story about a bunch of teenagers that have become terrorists fighting a tyrannical galactic empire sort of thing, from what I remember. I haven't watched it in a long time. I'm just saying there's a lot of violence, and it's probably not suitable for younger viewers. Then again, I don't think anyone that's a minor should even be on the internet at all, because there is a lot of stuff everywhere on the internet, and really, but then again, that's up to parents to, you know, do that shit as far as... But it's just like, there is so much on the internet, like I said, it's like, what's... Gundam Wing, I'd say you should at least be 14 years old before you watch that. But it is a really good anime, especially the way the Gundams are drawn. It's just not just the fact that, oh look, awesome mechs, but also the fact that, especially back then, there wasn't any CGI at all. All of that was hand-drawn. And while CGI is amazing that it allows you to generate pictures a lot faster, and not just on a deadline, but it's a lot cheaper. The amount of time it takes, the amount of resources, but at the same time, there is certainly an appeal to a show that is done entirely by human hand. But at the same time, that is a lot of pressure to put on a human artist. I mean, you gotta have like a whole team of people. Like sometimes in anime, you might have an individual person just working on a scene or a person, and groups of people, like, okay, you're working on the character, you're doing the background, you're re-inking things. Like, a lot of that stuff required a lot of time, and it's not just like, oh, you have to write the story, but doing, like, drawing a picture by human hand. Let's be clear, a CGI computer program, or even an AI, is a lot cheaper and a lot faster. And that's useful for people that are either trying to do it on a budget, because some studios may just not be able to afford to hire. Heck, some studios might literally just be one dude. And some might just be starting out, and they might just be really strapped for time. Some might even use it for just some scenes. To be like, hey, okay, we're using human artists, but we don't have enough people or money to do this. Or if they're really in a time crunch. So, obviously, there's different motivations for that. And, of course, everyone's, especially when it comes to AI art, there's lots of people that are concerned that it's replacing human artists. I think it should just be viewed as, it's an interesting tool, and it can definitely help things, but it should be seen as a way to help the human artist to be less overworked. Because I'll say this, yes, it does suck that a human artist may lose out on business, but at the same time, if there's so much demand for art and anime, there's not going to be enough time for a human artist to do all of it. And some studios may just not be able to afford it. So, but yeah, that's just a complicated issue with that. But the biggest thing is just, I like art done by humans simply because I like the style that's put into it. And sometimes you can see an artist's style change over time. For example, granted, he's not alive anymore, but the artist and author of Berserk. Granted, he had to take a lot of time because he put a lot of detail into it. And as far as I know, when he died, he basically said, he was about 1/3 of the way through his story. But it's just, you can see, like, if you look at his early stuff from when he started, like, he was good all the way through, but you see, like, changes in the way the artist draws. Same way, like, whether it's Yu Hakusho or Dragon Ball Z, if you're, like, say Akira Toriyama, if you're just, like, looking at his art over the years, it's interesting to see how just the way you draw something, or how a voice actor might change over time. I mean, a human voice, like, voice actors are going to change over time. Whether it's just age, or even illness, or even just experience, or even just changes to their own creative influence. But take creepypastas. Like, it's interesting stories to have, especially it's ways of just, one, either just an entertaining story, or ways of people to explore certain ideas. And sometimes they're very culturally relevant. Like the goat thing. It's just kind of reminds me of the, again, you don't actually do the thing. Like, I'm literally saying don't do it, because it's considered like a very, very important rule. It also makes me concerned, like, just how common was it? But I mean, it reminds you of certain things, like, say, like the fact that there's so many stories about it. But then take, like, there's certain creepypastas, like Black Bart, where the thing where you take a bucket of snails and a bunch of salt. Or the hide-and-seek game, or the ritual creepypastas, or the rules creepypastas, or stuff like that. Like, obviously, you come across one of those things, yeah. Some people are very skeptical about it, like, there's no truth to it, any of it all. But I'll say this. It's healthy to have a healthy respect of the supernatural, or of things that are potentially dangerous. Like, for example, take in movies, they knock people unconscious all the time. That's a lot more dangerous than it looks. It's a lot more likely you wind up killing somebody. So in general, just don't trust everything you see in movies or anime. A lot of it's... Though it is interesting, though. While it is mainly creative, artistic expression, sometimes over stuff that can't be in real life, that people, whether it's things that are physically impossible or things that are culturally impossible. Heck, some things are more so just purely a fantasy. But it's just, it's nice that there's so many ways that people can have creative expression. Though, I will say art can sometimes imitate life can imitate art. Like, if you look at old movies in the 50s or 70s, obviously that's not exactly how life was, because, I mean, you can't say a movie from nowadays is how life is exactly, but it's, you can definitely see how a movie from the 1950s, the 1970s, and the 90s, as opposed to here in 2023, you can see a little bit of a change in just how movies are, and how people talk to each other in movies. And like I said, a movie isn't an accurate representation of, what things are like at that era, but it is a little bit of a time capsule, so it's something interesting to explore as an idea, but of course take it with a grain of salt. It's a movie, it's not reality. It's kind of like anime. If you were to look at the old school Mobile Suit Gundams for like the 70s, and then, of course, Gun Wing and stuff in the 90s. And then we're to look at, say, Darling and the Franxx, which was like, 5 or 6 years ago? Or Evangelion. I mean, they're all anime, and they're all about giant robots. But one could definitely say that art styles and the way the story is, and even the themes, are very different. And of course, a lot of people will watch an anime and just, like, take Trigun. I think Trigun's a very important anime when it comes to certain things. Like me, I'd say I'd try, like, even before I knew Vash the Stampede existed, I was basically trying to live, the idea of, like, granted, there have been a lot of things that have pissed me off by people, and there are a lot of people that have done things that they deserved. They deserve bad things to happen to them for what they've done. But, in general, I've tried to live my life as a pacifist. I've never hurt anyone or killed anyone. Thank God. Now, I say I have hurt some people, but that's always been in self-defense and always in emergency life danger situations. Basically, you know, you have to defend yourself or defend somebody else. But thankfully no one ever got seriously hurt. Just prevented from hurting other people. But it's just... I like the philosophy of Vash Stampede, but I understand, of course, in reality, you know, there will be exceptions to those sorts of things, but I do want a peaceful world where everyone is kind to each other. I don't like the idea that anyone would hurt anyone else, but of course that's not the way the world out there works. Angry, I understand. I feel angry about things at times, and there are times people piss me off. But that's why self-control is important. And why I think video games are really awesome. Video games are a good way to express anger, whether it's frustration at bad things happening to you or just people pissing you off. I mean, it's a safe environment where you can vent that doesn't hurt anyone. I mean, hell, saying Mortal Kombat and Grand Theft Auto cause violence, it's like saying anime causes virginity. You know, that doesn't... It's not how that works. But yeah. And like I said, the whole story about the goat thing, it's like, why would anyone do that? Baby goats are adorable. Then again, most animals are adorable. I haven't been to the zoo in like 7 or 8 years or some shit. I don't remember. But I'll have to go someday again. Because it's nice to go, and like all the animals are cute, and I can talk to people, and try to be sociable, I guess. Maybe take somebody. Maybe I'll have a date or something. Probably not. I don't know. But it'd be kind of cool to just go there and like, because even the tigers and lions and the elephants and giraffes and stingrays and clouded leopards, they're all adorable and cute. Even the big ones. The only thing is I understand that, you know, if I was inside the enclosure with the tiger, it would kill me. So, it is a giant predator. It is, you know, sharp fangs and teeth and claws and about 1,000 pounds of muscle, so, yeah. But it is still adorable, and at least I do definitely strongly approve of zoos, as long as they're taking good care of the animals, they're kind to the animals, and they give them enough space so that they don't feel like they're caged up. Because I think it is fucked up if an animal is like locked in a cage where it doesn't have much room at all to move, and it's not being fed well, and it's being treated like shit. That's fucked up. But if it's like a lion, and it has like a large enclosure with like 100-foot long area of glass for people to stand next to, and an area to stand above to look down, to where the lion has plenty of room to be able to move around and do things, and other lions. You know, it's being fed well, it's in a safe environment, it's got plenty of space so it doesn't feel like it's caged up. It's kind of like those things like some of the really large water places that had like orcas and stuff. It's like sometimes they had those things in an area of space that was like way, way, way too small for that size of an animal. And that is kind of cruel. And that's fucked up. But as long as you can have enough space to give it adequate room to not feel like it's locked up. But I'm just saying I enjoy zoos. I think it's important for people, not just at my age, to go see... Like, at my age, I've seen animals before, okay? It's nothing new. But it's still really cool. It's nice to go see them and see the animals, and granted, maybe something at a farm or a petting zoo might be more appropriate to see something like a goat or a sheep. But, and of course, whole pets people have. Granted, I talk to stuffed animals. I talk to myself. I talk to my computer right now. And anytime I have had a pet in the past, even though I haven't had one in a long time, I would talk to them as if they're a person. I know that might sound a bit odd, but like if anytime I've had a cat or dog in the past, I would talk to them as a person. Unfortunately, heck, if I had a genie wish Granted, I would want other wishes too, but I would probably want a wish to make like pets should be able to live just as long as the person. You know, like I'm sure there's other people out there that have had pet cats and pet dogs, and then over time, you know, they got old and then they died of old age, and well, that's sad. I mean, yes, it's not a human, but it's still your friend. So it's sad that they die. So you would like them not to and live just... I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm just saying I talk to animals as if they're people. I know I'm weird. But then again, I talk to stuffed animals as if, you know, they're people. I talk to a wall as if I was talking to a person. I sometimes have imaginary conversations as if I was trying to discuss things with either an anime character or a person from a history book or a person from the Bible. I'm weird. I get it. But I'm just saying, I should probably go to the zoo again, because it's like, yes, I understand giant-ass animal doesn't give a shit that I'm there. The elephant does not care. The giraffe does not give a shit about the random human looking at it through the glass. But I think it's cool to go see them. You know, I like it. You know, especially the aquarium parts. We see all the fish and the sharks and the manatees and sea otters. Remember that little meme thing with Obi-Wan and Anakin? But they like... Because, of course, Ewan McGregor did a thing where he was like doing a Discovery Channel show or Geography or something like National Geography. What? I don't know how to say it. But we're looking at sea otters. But then someone edited it to be with like Revenge of the Sith. It's like, don't make me kill you, Obi-Wan. But Anakin, my allegiance is to the sea otters. And it's just like, and at the end, like when Anakin's like, they're on fire, missing limbs. Ewan McGregor's like, Obi-Wan's like, and it goes down to the bottom with and grabs the shell and breaks it open with a stone. And Anakin's like, ah! Sea otters! We're looking at 6 of them, Anakin. I don't know. I think it's funny. But then I made a video once say, like, what if, like, Obi-Wan, you know, stood up for Anakin during the whole bullshit that happened. But then again, I've always liked the what-if scenarios with Star Wars or Dragon Ball Z. It's just interesting, it's fun. But yeah, just, as far as me as an older person, I've seen animals before, I've seen a stingray before. It's nothing new, but I still like it. I'd still like to go to the zoo again and just have a fun day and just look at the animals. You know, that'd be cool. It'd be fun. I would like it. But I think it's very important for younger people, at multiple times, both when they're much younger. I'd say at ages like if they're 2 years old and like 8 years old and 10 and 13 and 14 and 16, all those young ages. Because no matter what, even if you had seen them at any of those younger ages, by the time you're 16, it's still very important to see them again. Because I think one instills in a person a respect for nature and a respect for life. Plus, it's just cute, adorable animals, and it's awesome. And I know the rhino's like all pissed off, like, I'm not fucking adorable. And I'm like, yes, you are, you're cute. Now, of course, I can't pet the rhino because, you know, it is several tons, and it is essentially still a wild animal. Granted, it's as domesticated as a rhinoceros can be. But I, of course, understand that it's kind of like the same thing with a human being on a fucking sailboat. The moment you go on a boat in the middle of the fucking ocean, you are in an alien environment. It is a place a human being does not belong. It is not safe for humans. We've done our best to make it as hospitable as possible, but again, it is essentially an alien environment. Especially if you're in a fucking submarine or underwater. It is a place where we are more vulnerable than we already are. But then again, as is, human beings, we really don't stand a chance against the average animal. even the strongest human would get its fucking shit kicked in by a fucking average gorilla. The amount of muscle mass, weight difference is too much. Then again, you could give an old man in Florida a fucking frying pan, and he can beat the shit out of an alligator and save his dog's life. That's the thing. I live in Ohio. And I feel like when people... They seem to compare Ohio, Texas, and Florida as if we're all the same state. Which I can't really say that's wrong, because I've never been to Texas or Florida. Then again, there's a really cool Let's Play channel called Gray Still Plays. There's a guy that's in Florida. He's hilarious. But, I don't know. Then again, that's the interesting thing with America, is that it's a large country. We have like 40 plus different dialects of English. Then again, you have places like England and, you know, of course, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and of course, they do speak other languages. I mean, of course, you got Scottish, Irish. I don't know enough about the rest of it to really say anything. Same with Australia. Like, there's other languages other than English being used there. Aside from, you know, other major languages like, you know, French, Spanish, German, Italian, Russian, Japanese, Chinese. And of course, there's times I've looked at languages like Vietnamese. I'm looking through their alphabet. I'm like, where is the letter S? I can't find it. So at one point I was thinking about trying to sing like Pio Ton, like the 02 dance song. And I'm looking at that and like, I couldn't even comprehend how to pronounce the letters. Same way at one point like K-pop star Psy from Korea. It's just, he does some really cool songs like Gangnam Style, Mother Father Gentleman, Daddy, New Face, I Love It. And the interesting thing about this is this. One, they're very good songs. And he sings them very well. And the music videos are very interesting and engaging and memorable. And the dances he does are really good. And at one point I even tried to learn the dances. And you kind of can, but I'll say this. It is so exhausting and difficult to do. And just the coordination and all that required, it's a lot harder than it looks. I'm just saying, the man is a good artist, singer, and dancer. Heck, he even made a music video of Snoop Dogg once called Hangover, where it's the whole video where, you know, the Korean guy is just trying to outdrink Snoop Dogg. You can imagine how that went. But at the same time, it's just, it's silly, but then again, you know, I'm a non-drinker myself. I've tried alcohol, but I don't drink. I can't even remember the last time I ever even had alcohol. Heck, if I'm ever going to drink something, I'm like, here's my Barks root beer. Or here's my Pepsi or Red Bull. So maybe I overdo the caffeine and the sugar. But, I don't know, I just don't really see the appeal in alcohol. I mean, I can understand in the past, you didn't have Tylenol or anything, and a lot of times the water was more shit. But I mean, then again, I'm pretty sure if you went back in the past with Pepsi, I don't think people's digestive systems would handle it back then. So, I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about. So I should probably end the video because I'm confused. All I know is I was talking about adorable animals for some reason, and I don't remember why. Yeah. I'm just saying animals are cute. And I think it's important for, like, really, like I said, I've seen the animals before. I'm older. You know, I'm 36. So, yeah. I've seen animals before. But I still want to go to the zoo again. It would be fun. And the animals were cute and adorable. Even the ones I don't think they're cute and adorable. And I can just buy a soft plushie and walk around and see cool stuff. You know, I think it's nice. But I think it's important for younger people to go to zoos. Because I think, like I said, it instills a respect for nature, a respect for life. And it's just, I think it's a very important, not just fun experience, but educational, even just, it expands, I wouldn't say their horizons, so much as just the perspective on just life. And I think it helps people to be better people. I think having people, especially when they're young, go to the zoo and stuff and see animal, I think it helps them to be better people and to be kinder. And just generally, I don't know, have more love in their heart or some bullshit like that. Like, whatever nice thing I could say right now that would make Skeletor puke. You know? That sort of thing. I'm just saying I like it. It's fun. I like the cute, adorable animals. Even the ones that aren't really considered cute and adorable. Like, there's, like, the terrariums with the giant enclosures with the snakes and the lizards and the Komodo dragons. Again, make sure they have plenty enough room that they don't feel like they're caged up. They should feel like, you know, they're free. But, of course, there is a benefit to being in a zoo like that. Because, yeah, you do have a little bit less space, depending on the zoo, but you're more likely to live a lot longer life than you would in the nature. Because most nature, you know, the animals would never live very long at all. But in the zoo, an animal can live much, much, much longer than it ever would in the wild. And at least when it does die, it should be able to die in a humane way, probably due to old age or an illness associated with old age. But the main thing is, I just don't like the idea of, like, there's some zoos out there that, like, they would have the animal in such a small enclosure, which, yes, it makes it easier for people to see them sometimes, but that's just cruel. You know, the animal should be kept in an environment that gives it plenty of space, where it feels happy, where it has anything that it would want in that enclosure to be happy. And it should have others. It shouldn't be isolated and alone. Nor should it be in a situation where it's in danger. And if possible, the humans who are caretaking it for should be kind to it. They should be feeding it right. And they should be trying to be... I mean, I can't say necessarily the way... You can't treat a tiger exactly like you would a house cat. Because above all, the safety of the human being and the caretaker has to come first. You know, I put human safety first. But the humans should have some way of playing with the animal. And, you know, be like, hi, here's a fuzzy toy or something. Like granted, it might be odd if you're like, you just have a giant fishing pole with just a little mousy fuzzy on the end of it, and you're trying to play. Granted, you'd have to use a... I don't know, you wouldn't be able to use the actual fishing line, because that in itself could be a danger. Like, I'm obviously no fishing hook. But I mean, like, even though the very thin fishing line, if it were to get wrapped around, like, the tiger's leg, that could actually hurt it. Like, obviously, this would require a lot of brainstorming and people that are very smart to figure out, and of course, they've probably been people that already thought about how to do this when it comes to actual zoos and stuff. I'm just saying, there should be some way for the human being to interact with the giant animal in a way that allows the giant animal to feel happiness and to feel some sort of friendship that it at least understands that, hey, the large bipedal thing with the thin frame that keeps coming in and gives me food and sometimes washes me is actually my friend and he likes me. Now, of course, again, even though a zoo tiger is probably the closest thing to a domesticated one you'd probably ever get, it's still a large, dangerous animal with feral instincts that could rip you to shreds at any moment. So, of course, this, you know, there's got to be some sort of moderation or balance to this, and I don't know how that would work. But, of course, there's people whose this is their actual job to figure out how to do that shit. I'm just saying, one, it's important that the animal be safe, happy, not feel like it's caged up or, you know, in a cell, and that it not be isolated, and that it be able to have some sort of positive interaction with its human caretaker. But, of course, human safety has to be the #1 priority. But, of course, that's just... Like I said, there are people out there who it's their job to figure that stuff out. I'm just saying, I think zoos are very important for humanity. Because like I said, one, as somebody my age, I just like to go. I haven't been there in like 7 or 8 years, but... And of course, it's a nice thing to do as a social thing with other people, whether family, friends, a date, I guess. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's a nice social thing, It's obviously you're doing something you enjoy, but it's nice to be able to, I don't know, share and build a memory that's happy. Like, if you're at least with one or multiple other people, you're building a memory with them, and of course, it's you want it to be a happy memory, and you want it to be a positive experience. You want everyone involved to be happy. And of course, there might be a couple things that don't go your way. Like, it's like, oh, okay, you know, you ate something that didn't digest well, or, you know, maybe the weather had took a bad turn. But the main point is that if you're going with other people, and again, hell, if you're going by yourself, you're still trying to make a happy memory. And you're trying to have fun and enjoy yourself. But of course, if you're with other people, well, you want the person you're there with to, one, enjoy your company, and you enjoy theirs, and for you guys to both be building a happy memory together. But, I don't know. People are like, yes, Lunar, we understand how social interactions work. And I'm like, yeah, but I still want to talk about it. It's like, I understand you guys already understand all this. Like, but I just feel like talking about it. But I'm just saying, even though I've already gained whatever life experience that would be considered beneficial from going to a zoo, I still like to go. Now, that being said, people who haven't been to the zoo, or maybe only been a couple times, especially at early ages, I think it's still beneficial for them to go again. Because, one, again, it's a fun time for them. They can build a happy memory. It can also be a social thing, whether family, friends, whatever. But also, I think it instills in people, you know, a respect for life, a respect for nature, and maybe makes them have more perspective on just the world, and maybe makes them a more kind and loving person. But then again, I'm a person who talks to stuffed animals and gives them head pats and hugs. So, I don't know. I don't know what the point of any of this was, just we didn't win. I don't think we're ever going to get a completion mark on this guy. But still, it's interesting that they're, like, I don't know if it would still be that bad crafting if it wasn't tainted loss, but still, that's interesting. And I know I said, like, Bash the Stampede, but really, personality-wise, I don't know. You can consider me a mix of Bash the Stampede and Stein from Soul Eater. But then again, realistically from Soul Eater, if you were going to pick, like, what character I am, I'm Krona. That's my personality. I am Krona from Soul Eater. That's the best way to describe me as a person. Then again, you could also describe my personality as the Dragon Ball Z Potara fusion of Sailor Moon and Yusuke Urameshi, or the Dragon Ball Z Potara fusion of Astolfo and Jack Hanma. So yeah, how about that? My personality is the Dragon Ball Z Potara fusion of Astolfo and Jack Hanma. Then again, I look like the Potara fusion of Skeletor and Cthulhu. But oh well. I'm just saying, zoos are nice. I think the animals are adorable. And I like stuffed animals. I'm silly. And I probably should sleep more. Then again, I watch tons of anime and listen to lots of music. And that's awesome. I like music and anime of just about all genres. But, yeah. Sorry for the long, boring video, guys. Bye, everybody.